And welcome back to Fairview Farm. It is the 22nd of September, and we are going to be spreading some slurry on our grass fields today. We've got a visitor on the farm in the form of... Oh, come on, gate. Oh, this gate can be a little bit of a pain. Look at how slow that's moving. Yeah, it doesn't close very easily, that gate. We have a visitor on the farm today. We've got the Agronomist. His truck and his trailer is here. If we have a peek through the field here, I think we can see him. He's, yeah, you can see over there. He's off scanning that field at the moment. So we're going to concentrate on the grass fields and get them all done. We're going to start with our small little grass field at the top. He has scanned everything else. He's almost finished, actually, to be honest. And as a result, we're able to go and scan our fields and get everything done. So that's good. We've been holding off because obviously I didn't want him to have to be going through all of our very smelly manure, or very smelly slurry, because slurry smells so much worse than manure, to go and get his soil samples and do his scans. So yeah, that's all done on our grass fields now. We're just waiting for him to finish off on that, on the wheat field, and then once he's done that, he'll go away, he'll check out the soil samples, and he'll let us know how what our soil is like across the farm, and then we'll be able to be a little bit more accurate with all of our with the nitrogen that we put across the farm. We're going to do 2 coats. We're doing a lesser coat now, or a lesser spread now. We know that this will come in way under what these fields need. And then later we'll be able to put a second spread on and just top things up to a point where they'll be good. We should do that. Yeah, we'll probably do that in a couple of weeks. Make sure that we are good, and then early November we'll do a quick cut of these fields, top up our silage, and be ready to do some selling off once everything's fermented. So that should be really good. Let's bring this into here, and then we can start to get this field done. Yeah, it's really useful having the cows, reducing the cost of this a little bit. There we go. Close that gate because I don't want to get that covered in everything. Turn it on, and away we go. So yeah, this will help us to improve our overall nitrogen level on these fields, and we'll be able then to get a much better yield off this grass when we come to cut it in a couple of months. This field is fairly quick and doesn't take too long to do. I think we should have enough in this tank. Most of our fields take more than one tank. Well, takes several tanks to get done, but this one being the upper meadow and being fairly small should be pretty good. I think that's probably got all of it. Yeah, looking fairly good there, I think. Right, so we'll turn that off, and with this field done, we'll go refuel, because I don't think there's a huge amount left in the tank. And one thing I dislike about this is that there's no real reading that we've got. I only have to hit the tank really to work out what's going on. Not the newest of spreaders, this, but it does work nicely, and does mean we get to do, or get done, the job that we need to get done around here. So we'll go refill this. As I said, it's not going to do all of this field, and what we've got left in here is not very much, I suspect. So I'll refill it and we'll head back up here. We'll get this open again and we'll hook up all the pipes and everything to get this refilled. It's quite a nice intricate bit of piping that comes through here. I need to get this all the way in order to do it. This is where, yeah, so this is where we pump out the slurry. We've got a big tank on the other side. And then we get the milk from the milking parlor, which is over this side over here. This is our milking parlor, and we get that out from in here. We've got the actual milking parlor for the cows, as I've mentioned before, in here. So we get the girls into here to milk. At the moment, they're of course shut off from this side. They're all through there. But we want to keep it that way because obviously we don't want them sort of walking through here while we've got gates open and things. It doesn't make much sense to do that. Right, let's get this pumping and refilled, and then we can head down to the field again. So this slurry spreader, this holds around about 9,000 litres. I think it's just over 9,000 litres, in fact, which does mean that we need to go back and forth a couple of times in order to properly get enough coverage. It's not a huge problem, that it does just mean that we are using a little bit extra fuel to do that. But this is about the biggest tank or the biggest spreader that we can put on the 7610 here. And in fact, you can see why. Just getting into this field with that on there, with that slope on there, we do struggle a bit to pull it uphill sometimes. And it does mean that it's got the whole thing that we have of doing of having to go across the slope. I spoke about this when we originally did both the harvest and the mowing for our first set of silage that I showed you a little bit earlier in the year, and that is why the power of this 7610 is pretty good for us in general, but as soon as we get into trying to go up slopes a lot and trying to fight the terrain a little bit, we end up with this not being as powerful as it could otherwise be. But this tractor has done us for years. It does what it needs to do. It's got the power that it needs to, as long as we're careful about how we apply it. We do push it to its edge a little bit. But you always kind of want to get the most out of your machinery, so it's never really let us down at all. We keep it serviced ourselves, as you've seen, and it's of an age where we are able to do that. I've said this before, where trying to get a modern tractor serviced how we want to be able to do it, especially up here, can be quite difficult. The local agricultural machinery specialists, which is down where the shop is, are really good, and I know a couple of farms around here that do have more modern tractors. The bigger trouble that they find is that if there's anything, let's see, we've run out now. Anything that requires a lot of the computer stuff that's integrated in modern machines and things like that, it starts to having to go away. And any farm that's running with just a couple of tractors like we are, to lose your main tractor for an extended period of time, which can happen if you've got to send it away, That's not good. Whereas with this, I know that I can go down to the merchants if they've got the parts, or they can do it themselves. It's only going to put me out of whack for a day or two, and we can get going again. That's not to say that there aren't catastrophic things that can go wrong, but this at least, I know how this works, and I know that I can get in the guts. And I know that I can fix it for the most part if I need to, and be up and running again fairly quickly. That's not to say that I'm dunking on modern tractors, not by any means. Some of the innovations in modern machinery are spectacular and absolutely incredible. It is just one of those things where, for where we are and for as far out of the way as we are, when something goes wrong, and there's more stuff to go wrong on those, then it ends up causing us issues and delays that we otherwise could avoid. And as I said before, with what we've got on here, with the gateways and the size of our farmyard and everything like that, we would be replacing this for a tractor of a similar size and a similar horsepower, and with the modern tractors, a lot of the there isn't a lot of advantage to us doing that while this tractor's working. Yes, we'd get a lot of the new features and things, and that would be quite good, but we would also be spending a lot of money to do it, a lot of money that, quite honestly, a lot of the time we don't have to spend. I mean, we're spending a lot of money this year on upgrading the farmyard, because the farmyard itself is beginning to become too cramped for us, and we've got buildings that we're not using, and there's just a better way that we can use our farm. But trying to invest in a new tractor, well, is money that I don't feel the need to spend at the moment, when this tractor does what we need on the farm so well, and the David Brown supports it so well as well. I think our visitor is just finishing up, and so I think he'll have headed off by the time we get back for our next tank full of slurry. I did have a quick word with him. He was saying that we might not require another spread of slurry or fertilizer on these fields. From what he's saying, from what he's seen, the soil types that we've got on here, this should be a decent amount of nitrogen for the grass. The wheat field, that itself might require a little bit more, so we are going to go and get some slurry spreaded on that later, and hopefully start to get that ready for replanting next month, and I think that's going to be a big thing for us. And yeah, so he's fairly optimistic about what he's going to find. He says he'll send us a map over, and if I can share that with you, I will. And you can see what kind of land we're facing around here, and what kind of stuff we've got. And actually, he said part of the reason why most people around here do grass as well tends to be the lay of the land around here. So that seems to be a thing, is the how the actual land reacts to stuff. So let's turn that off there and head back down the field and get, I think this is our 4th tank today. We'll get this spread and keep going, but yeah, it's going to take quite a few here, and we've still got 2 more fields to do. Looks like our guest has left, having got all of the farm samples. That's good news. We can have a look at that when his report comes in. I'm fairly hopeful that we've got some good soil somewhere. We might end up looking at our fields and seeing exactly how is best to apply various bits and pieces, and where might even be the best place for us to have some arable land and arable field. Also, it'll give us an idea a little bit of what the neighboring fields might be like too, so we'll be able to sort that. Right, let's get these hoses hooked up and then we'll get back out to the field in a bit. And just doing the last little bit on this field up the top here, and then that will be the whole field covered. Yep, happy with that. So turn that off. And I want to go and refill this. I think we've still got about 2/3 of the tank here, judging by how this has been going. So that's 3 1/3 tanks of this to get this field done, which is not too bad. Using the same, to be honest, using the same sort of application rate that we've always used. After a while, you get a good feel for the farm as to exactly how much wants to go on a field where. We'll see how that matches up to the soil samples that were done, and how much we might need to adjust that based on that. The trouble we've got a little bit with modern precision farming and things is that would be an advantage to having a more modern tractor. We don't have all the kits to vary our application rate massively, so we have to sort of try and feel for it a little bit. Tend to give a general application rate on what we have previously known, but we can adjust that knowing what soil types we have and where those soil types we have, and maybe give a little bit more accurate of an application of that across the fields. Now this is a field where we're going to struggle a little bit with this. We've got quite a hill from this bottom corner down here up to the top, and you can see that we're probably going to struggle quite a bit going up bits like this here. Just drop my gears down a little bit and up, and we can pop them up again as we hit the top. We're gonna have a little bit of an issue getting this all the way up that there. However, if we do it in the same way as we cut this last time, I think we'll avoid the steepest bits, and doing that means the tractor should perform absolutely fine. This is definitely struggling up this hill. Yeah, we have to be careful. We have to turn down the application rate when we're struggling up the hill like this, because otherwise we end up putting extra on at this point, and we kind of want to avoid that. Disable it so that we can turn around, and then we need to be careful with the application going downhill as well, and control our speed a little bit, because we don't want to shoot down this hill and get a lesser application rate on the way down. It's really quite a difficult balance to get most of the time. We just need to make sure that everything is as even on this field as we can possibly make it. Knocking this stone wall down here has really made a big difference in loading up the slurry here. It used to be so much more of a chore to get this backed all the way along here, not to mention getting it all the way around and down this narrow bit here. And now just to be able to back it up into here has just opened things up in the farm so nicely. This is why we're making changes. This is why we're updating the farm. because it does just make our life that much more easy to accomplish everything that we want to. And now that I've got this refilled, we can pull out again, close that gate. We don't really need to close the gate. We've not got any access to the cows through here, but I just like to be cautious. Last thing I need to do is to be running around trying to herd up the cows before we can continue. They'll get out here and they'll come and munch on the grass, and while that isn't necessarily a bad thing for them, in fact I have an area for the cows to go and be put out to meadow in the springtime. We at the moment really can't afford to get them out here. We want this grass to grow. We want everything to be nicely ready for our final cut of silage for the year, because yeah, we need to make that cash. This last little bit here should finish this field off then, and then we are done for the grass fields. Now the soil samples have been taken, we can get a layer of nitrogen as well, or a layer of slurry onto the wheat field too. So we'll go and do that now as well. I'm quite pleased with how it's gone. We've used about as much slurry actually on this field as we used on the other grass field. So they seem to be, well, they are. I'd say they seem to be. I know these fields pretty well at this point, and yeah, they are very similar sizes. It always catches me out a little bit though, because this one feels so much bigger than the other, but it's not. It takes about as much slurry, it produces about as much grass for silage. It is a very similar size on both fields. Unlike my grass fields, this will require a couple of applications of fertilizer. So we're going to do the first application with slurry here. This will give us a decent base of nitrogen on the field. We'll let it dry out a little bit, and then next month we'll come in here and we'll get the we'll get the crop for next year planted. Once we've got that crop planted, what we'll be able to do is see how it grows, and then we can put some fertilizer on as it's growing in the springtime, which will work out fairly well for us, I think. We're definitely aiming to try and get a larger yield off here next year. We did wheat on here this year. We're going to do barley on it next year, and rotate another grain into it. We'll then see where we go from there. We might have to put maybe some sorghum or something like that in, or some soybeans. Soybeans actually are pretty nitrogen rich, I believe. So yeah, they might be a good one to put in here. Ideally for next year, what we want is I'm looking to add some chickens to the farm in the springtime. So having something that I can feed to them is going to be very, very useful. But we'll see how things go, and hopefully this field will come out fairly well. It's fairly well trod, so I don't think we're going to get a mulcher. There has been some suggestion that mulching might improve the yield on here, but I'm looking at this and it's all fairly well compacted at the moment. So I don't think it's going to mulch very well, especially after we've done this job and ridden all over the stubble a bit further. Slurry is going on here quite nicely. We're zooming around this field, and because we're going across the slope, the tractor is having no issue whatsoever doing this at the correct speed. It is just, yeah, it's just breezing through this. And this is what I was talking about earlier. This tanker is at about the limits of the horsepower of this tractor. So if we make it easier on ourselves and we're going across the slope, it performs absolutely fine with no issues at all. It's when we get on those slopes and when we try and do something that the tractor is a lot less happy with, that's when we end up having problems. Yeah, it would take something with quite a bit more horsepower to come in, replace what this is doing, and make it worth it. Now, the trouble is, as I've said many times with this farm, is that I'm not even sure that will fit on the farm, let alone be something that is ultimately able to make it worth our while spending all that money. But we'll see. You know, you never know. The right thing might come up. Certainly, I wouldn't rule out a 40 series on here. That would certainly help to improve things, and maybe that is the way to go. Maybe not a modern tractor, but maybe something just a few years younger, something from the mid to late 90s rather than something from the mid 80s. But that is us done for the day. I think we've done pretty well. We've got a good coverage of slurry on all of our fields. It's very tight getting this out of here and in the other gate. In fact, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go the long way around. I want to park. Oh, I'm going to have to park this out of the way. We've got our big slurry tank round the back, and I've been parking a couple of bits up there. We've got our flatbed bale trailer. Our new flatbed bale trailer is currently sitting up there. So we'll go and stick this down the back as well, and out the way. Oh yeah, we've got more and more stuff down here at the moment because I'm trying to keep the middle section of this yard clear until we are able to get that all demolished. It is, while it's going to be really, really useful, it is at the moment just massively inconvenient because we can't get well, we're having to put all of our equipment well out of the way, and as a result it's getting in my way all over the place. I don't know if I can even get this round here. No, that's not too bad. I don't want to jackknife it though. Yeah, there we are. I've got turned around. Yeah, you can see why we're having issues these days with the size of our equipment and the size of the yard. This yard was built for a time when stuff was much smaller than it is now. In fact, the last big construction project we had around this yard was the cow barn, and it's taken up a large area of the yard. So we want to try and make the yard work a little bit better for us, open things up, maybe combine areas that before didn't need to be combined. All in all though, that's a pretty good place to end today's vlog. So I'm gonna leave it here, which means that all that remains is for me to say
thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please leave a like, drop us a comment, and give it a share. Special thanks to all my patrons and channel members. Your support is invaluable in making these videos and helping the channel to grow. For more from Virtual Farmer, check out the links below, follow on Twitch to watch live, and for more videos, subscribe and ring that bell. I will see you next time. Goodbye.